Producers need to be thinking about some weed treatments right now, and Angela, what should they be looking for in their field?
So right now we're seeing a lot of our winter annual weeds just starting to emerge, particularly if you've already went through at the first tillage pass. And we're seeing people going out planting their canola. We're right in the middle of canola planting time, just getting started with wheat. I think the report latest was about 6% planted in Oklahoma. So we want to be thinking about those burn down and pre-applications in wheat and ahead of those crops.
What does the weed crop look like so far in Oklahoma?
So far we've had really great moisture this fall, so we're seeing a nice flush of weeds, especially for those of you who haven't been out with a tillage pass yet. And so it's important to go out there and get those weeds controlled before you get the crop in the ground.
Here at the agronomy farm, you have some studies going on here. We have post and then pre-emergent trials going on?
Yeah, so we have some plots here where we're looking at herbicide symptomology, and this is herbicides that are labeled in many different crops in Oklahoma. So we've planted a group of crops and a group of weeds, and we're looking at what these herbicides do to each one of those crops and how they're selective against weeds as well. Plot number 9 here is atrazine. This is a very commonly used herbicide in corn and also in sorghum. And this is a product that's going to really only leave, as far as weeds, it'll only leave grasses. The plot will be nice and clean, and really you can only see in this plot that corn is still in place. The wheat that we have planted here is very sensitive, and wheat is sensitive to atrazine carryover. So want to be careful about that if you have had corn over the summer and then you want to go to wheat, or if you had sorghum and you want to go to wheat. You can see that it's essentially going to die here.
But the weeds that you planted just haven't matured enough to be affected by those? Or,
no, in this case, the weeds breach the surface and die. So this will be a very clean plot. And essentially, when we put atrazine out, it's bare ground except for corn and Johnson grass. Wow. So very good grass control product, broadleaf control product for corn. And then plot 7 is our bleacher plot. So if you take a look particularly at canola leaves, this is Command is the product that we've put out here, and we can see there's still some remnants of the bleacher where all the cotyledons have turned white. Right. You can also see it very nicely on the corn, though the corn has some insect injury as well. About 7 days ago, these plants were all completely white. Wow. Yeah, just so no chlorophyll whatsoever, but once it gets down through that herbicide layer, it starts to green up again. And actually canola is not very sensitive to this, so while it'll be a little bit stunted, this canola will come up and be just fine, but it's nice to see the symptomology there.
What are you finding so far?
So far we've got our pre-emergent symptomology out. You might see some little missing sections in some of the rows down there, and those we're going to be seeing a lot of below ground symptomology. You can't really see it above ground except for where there are missing plants. But soon we're going to have the post-emergent treatments out, and we'll see a lot more chlorosis and some stunting and things that are really neat to look at with herbicides.
Let's talk about broadleafs right now. Folks maybe want to come back with canola. Is there anything that they need to be doing or should have been doing leading up to canola? So
coming up to canola, and there's still some time to get burn down applications and get canola planted, we want to make sure that we don't mix 2,4-D, dicamba, MCP, those types of products in with our tank mixes ahead of canola, because those are going to have some issues at this point. You don't have enough time between the end of the planting window to get those products out. So for canola, we want to right now just stick to glyphosate as our main burn down, or a paraquat application, or even just primary tillage as our burn down for canola.
Now going forward, the post, and this will be later on in November, what are some of the things that producers need to be thinking about for that?
So you'll want to watch for a flush as we move through the winter season. Right now we can use pre-emergent herbicides in our wheat. Those can go down at the time of planting. And then, for example, Zidua, which is a new product we have in wheat, it's hard to come by right now, so if you haven't gotten your hands on any, you might have to do some digging to get some. That one goes down at a spike application, so just after the wheat emerges. It's a little bit different timing. Later in the season, we'll be looking towards those sulfonylurea or group 2 herbicides, and those will be going down as we get a little bit deeper into the winter season.
Okay, speaking of the plots here at the agronomy farm, you're going to have a teaching opportunity for producers producers across Oklahoma coming up here in a couple weeks.
Right, in a couple of weeks we're going to be hosting a Herbicide Symptomology Clinic. It's been a while since we've had one here at OSU, and we're going to have it right here at the Stillwater Agronomy Farm on October the 7th. We're going to start serving donuts and coffee at 8:30, and at 9 o'clock we'll get right into learning about symptomology on these different crops. Also, we'll have some drift simulation going on here in wheat and canola, and we'll also hope to have a spray table here so that we can look at some nozzle tip selection for producers. This is for producers, ag educators, crop consultants, anyone who has an interest in what those herbicides look like. And we want to remember, please RSVP to me here at OSU. The number is 405-744-9588.
Okay, and also you have some information on your website, which we'll put a link to at sunup.okstate.edu.